The walkway cracked under my boots, and I heard a child scream somewhere below me, and that was the moment everything changed. My name is Ethan Hale, and 3 minutes earlier, I had been standing on a quiet landing platform, trying to look calm in front of aliens who were built like glass birds. Now I was running toward a broken bridge, and I did not have time to think about how strange my body must have looked to them. I need to back up, just a little, so this makes sense. I am a cadet, not a captain, not a hero, just a young officer from Earth, serving on a small survey ship called the Horizon Path. My crew is made up of 6 different species, and every single one of them is faster, stronger, or smarter than me in some obvious way. The Velkari have 4 arms and perfect memory. The Sonorans can read heat through walls. And me, I am just a human, the newest species anyone in this part of the galaxy has ever met. Most of my crewmates are polite about it, but I can tell what they think. They think humans are slow, heavy, simple. So when Captain Grace Bennett called me into her office and told me I had a solo assignment, I was excited, right up until she told me what it was. A goodwill visit. A small, gentle world called Ilventra, home to a species called the Feri, who live in almost no gravity at all. My job was to deliver a data crystal, shake a few clawed hands, smile, and leave. It was the kind of mission you give to someone you are not worried about losing. I did not argue. I packed my gear and took the shuttle down alone. Ilventra took my breath away the second I stepped outside. The whole world felt like a dream. Towers made of pale silver stone rose into a soft violet sky, twisting upward in spirals too thin and too tall to exist anywhere with real gravity. Bridges made of woven light stretched between them, swaying gently, and the Feri themselves were the strangest, most beautiful people I had ever seen. Thin, tall, with long limbs and thin membranes between their arms and sides, like living gliders. They did not walk so much as drift, pushing off gently and floating from place to place, landing without a sound. A Feri elder named Lyra Vensa met me at the base of the tallest tower. Her voice was soft, almost musical, and she studied me with wide silver eyes. "You are heavy," she said, not unkindly. "I could feel it in the ground when your ship landed." I laughed and told her that where I come from, everyone is this heavy. She tilted her head like that idea confused her, and I understood then just how different our worlds really were. On Ilventra, gravity is so weak that a bird there could carry a grown Feri on its back. Their bones are thin as reeds. Their whole city is built for softness, for slow drifting movement, for a world where falling is never dangerous, because nothing ever falls hard. I spent the morning walking with Lyra through markets that smelled like sweet smoke, past children who floated past me laughing, spinning in lazy circles in the open air. I handed over the data crystal. I shook hands, or whatever the Feri version of a handshake was, a light touch of fingertips. Everything was calm. Everything was easy. Then the wind changed. It started as a low groan from one of the tall bridges above the market square, the kind of sound a structure makes right before it fails. I looked up and saw one of the woven light bridges twisting wrong, the fibers snapping one by one, and on that bridge was a group of Feri children, floating home from something like school. One of them, a small one with pale blue skin, lost her grip as the bridge buckled beneath her feet. In any normal gravity, a fall like that would be gentle, slow, safe. But something below her had shifted too, a support column cracking at its base, and the whole structure was folding downward far faster than anything on this world should ever fall. Lyra screamed a name. Other Feri froze, staring upward, completely still. I understood in that instant that none of them had ever needed to move fast in their entire lives. Their bodies were not built for it. Their minds did not even have the instinct for it. Mine did. I did not decide to run. My legs just moved, faster than I even knew I could go, boots hitting silver stone as I sprinted toward the base of the collapsing bridge. On Earth, my body is dense, heavy, packed with muscle, built to fight against gravity every single day of my life. Here, on a world with a fraction of that pull, all that strength suddenly had almost nothing to push against. I hit the edge of the platform and jumped. I want to describe what that felt like, because I will never forget it. On Earth, a jump like that would carry me maybe a meter into the air. Here, my legs threw me upward like a spring, released from 100 years of pressure. I shot into the open sky, arms out, chest first, rising far above the rooftops, far above the startled birds, straight toward the falling child. I caught her. My arms wrapped around her small frame, and I twisted my whole body in the air, using every bit of strength I had to change our direction, aiming us both toward a wide rooftop garden instead of the hard stone square below. We hit the soft green surface hard, rolled twice, and stopped. She was shaking, but she was breathing. She was alive. I stood up, chest heaving, ears ringing, and turned around to see the whole market square staring up at me in complete silence. Nobody clapped, nobody cheered. A few Pharaoh had actually pressed themselves flat against the ground, wings or whatever those thin membranes were, folded tightly against their bodies. Others were backing away slowly, eyes wide with something that looked less like gratitude and more like fear. I did not understand it then. I thought maybe they were shocked. It took Lyra several long seconds to reach me, her steps slow and careful, like she was approaching something dangerous. "You flew," she whispered. I told her I did not fly. I jumped, that is all, just a jump. But she shook her head and pointed upward, toward one of the old carved towers behind her. On its surface was an ancient painting, faded by wind and time, showing a dark, heavy figure with powerful limbs, rising into a storm-colored sky above a crowd of small, frightened, thin-limbed people. "That is Kavoth," she said. "The old stories speak of a being who came from a world so heavy it crushed stone into dust, a being who could leap into the sky and strike like falling thunder. We do not have violence in Kavoth's story, only fear, only the memory of something too powerful for a gentle world like ours." I looked at the painting again, and my stomach turned cold. The figure in that ancient art had the exact same shape I must have had a moment ago, arms out, chest forward, rising fast against a bright sky, right above a crowd of small, delicate people staring upward in shock. To them, I had not saved a child. I had become a legend from their oldest nightmares. Word spread through the city faster than I could explain myself. By the time I made it back down to the main square, more Pharaoh had gathered, whispering, staring, keeping a careful distance. Some of the older ones spoke words I did not understand, low and reverent, almost like a prayer. The child I had saved, her name was Mira, sat wrapped in a soft cloth beside her family, staring at me with wide silver eyes full of wonder rather than fear. I sat down on the edge of the platform, and I made myself speak slowly, calmly, the way Captain Bennett always told me to when things felt too big to control. "I am not a demon," I told them. "I am not Kavoth. I am just a person from a heavy world, that is all. Where I live, gravity pulls so hard that our bodies grew strong just to stand up straight. Here, that same strength means something completely different. It means I can jump higher than I should. It does not mean I am dangerous. It only means I am built for a harder place." Lyra translated my words to the crowd, her voice steady now, and I watched something shift in their expressions, slowly, like ice melting under warm light. Fear did not disappear all at once, but it softened into something more like careful curiosity. An elder stepped forward, older than Lyra, his silver eyes clouded with age. He studied me for a long moment, then looked up at the faded painting on the tower behind him. "Perhaps Kavoth was never a demon," he said quietly. "Perhaps Kavoth was only a traveler, like you, caught between two worlds that were never meant to understand each other." That single sentence changed everything. By evening, the fear in the city had turned into something closer to celebration. Pharaoh children floated close to me, careful, but fascinated, asking me to jump again, just a little, just enough to see. I obliged once, a small hop that still carried me higher than any of them had ever gone unaided, and their laughter afterward was the best sound I had heard in weeks. Before I left Ilventra, Lyra walked with me back to my shuttle. The violet sky above us was fading into a deep, calm night, and thin silver stars were beginning to show. "You will be remembered here," she said, "not as a monster, as the one who taught us that strength is only frightening until it is understood." I thought about that the entire flight back to the horizon path. I had been sent on this mission because no one thought it mattered. I was the cadet nobody worried about, the quiet one, the ordinary one. But on a world built from gentleness and thin bones, my very ordinary strength had looked like something out of legend. When I stepped back onto my ship, Captain Bennett asked me how the simple little goodwill visit had gone. I told her it was quiet. Peaceful. Nothing much happened. Then I smiled, because somewhere far behind me, a whole world was already retelling the story of the flying demon, who turned out to be nothing more than a human, doing what came naturally, on a day when someone needed saving.